You know that voice, that little voice inside your head?
Mm-hmm.
The one that just pops up when you're about to try something new, or maybe after you make a mistake.
Yeah, the critic.
Exactly. It makes you question everything, replay those moments.
Mm.
That's what we're diving into today, that inner critic.
That's right. And we've got this really helpful motivational dialogue as our source material. It really breaks down this inner critic.
Yeah.
And it offers some, concrete ways to quiet it down, plus some pretty inspiring stories.
So the mission today is?
Well, basically, to understand where this voice comes from, give you some real techniques to manage it and, help you let your own true voice come through.
Absolutely. And this isn't just like theory, is it? This is practical stuff.
Totally practical.
Whether you're prepping for a big meeting or trying something totally new or just, dealing with everyday life, getting a handle on this inner critic is fundamental.
It really is. It's about getting past that self-doubt.
Okay, so let's get into it. This inner critic.
Yeah.
What does our source say it actually is? Like its main features?
Well, the dialogue uses a pretty strong image. It calls it a bully living rent-free in your mind.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. It's that voice that's always casting doubt, always replaying mistakes, watching your every move. But what's tricky is how it presents itself.
Right. It's not always obvious, is it? It doesn't usually sound like a cartoon villain.
No, exactly. It often pretends to be practical or just being realistic, sometimes even helpful self-awareness.
Ah, the realism trap.
Mm-hmm. But our source says if you dig down, you usually find fear underneath it all.
Fear. Okay.
Precisely. And the dialogue points out these subtle little phrases it uses. Things like, oh, I don't know if I can actually pull this off, or maybe I'm not quite skilled enough for this.
Or that classic, oh no, here I go again. I always mess this part up.
Yes. Those little seeds of doubt, if you don't challenge them, they can really start to grow and, shape how you see everything.
And become beliefs, right? Like deeply held beliefs about yourself.
They can, yeah. And the source stresses how that then affects your confidence, your motivation.
Even the choices you make.
Exactly. It's like wearing negativity-tinted glasses all the time.
Yeah. And what really struck me is how paralyzing it can be. The source talks about this, right? How it stops us trying new things.
It does. That immediate internal shutdown. Don't bother, you'll just embarrass yourself. That's a powerful barrier to growth.
I think we can all relate to that. The examples in the source felt very real, like hesitating to speak up or not auditioning for something, because that voice is whispering, you're not talented enough, or what if you fail?
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? The dialogue puts it quite starkly. How many dreams just fizzle out because that voice gets too loud?
Sobering thought. Okay, so we see the problem. It's real. It's impactful. What do we do about it? Our source talks about cognitive reframing.
Yes, cognitive reframing.
What is that, essentially?
So the dialogue explains it as consciously changing how you interpret something, a situation, or maybe just a thought you had. Yeah.
And it's important. This isn't about pretending things are fine when they're not. It's not denial.
Right. Not just wishful thinking.
No. It's about choosing a more, let's say, balanced or constructive viewpoint, like rewriting the story you tell yourself about what just happened.
Okay, that makes sense. The source had some good examples. Can you share one or two?
Sure. So take the thought, I messed up on that, I'm just incompetent.
Okay, a common one.
Right. Reframing might turn that into something like, okay, I made a mistake. That happens when you're learning. What can I take from this to do better next time?
Ah, so you acknowledge the mistake, but change the meaning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or another one, shifting from this is way too hard, I'll never get it, to maybe, okay, this is challenging, how can I break it down? What's the first step I can take?
Well, it's like hitting pause on that automatic self-criticism.
Yes.
And consciously putting in a more helpful, maybe even more accurate thought. Precisely. You interrupt the old negative pattern and plant something more positive. And the dialogue has this great little trick. Ask yourself, would I say this to a friend?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Because often the stuff we say to ourselves, we'd never dream of saying it to someone we care about.
So true. We can be our own worst critics.
Which just shows we need to offer ourselves that same compassion, right? Reframing helps us be honest about challenges, but also supportive of ourselves.
Okay, so reframing is one powerful tool. What else does our source suggest for, turning down the volume on that critic? It mentions affirmations.
Yes, affirmations. The dialogue describes them as like healthy mental nutrition.
Okay, I like that analogy.
The idea is that even if it feels a bit strange at first, repeating positive, empowering statements consistently can actually start to rewire your thinking over time.
Like watering positive seeds.
Exactly.
Now, some people might be a bit skeptical about affirmations, right? Does this source address that?
It does, yeah. It makes a really smart point. It suggests that actually most of us are already doing affirmations all the time, just negative ones.
How so?
Well, that constant loop of, I can't do this, I'm not smart enough, I'll probably mess up, that is negative affirmation. We're programming ourselves with limitations.
Okay. So if we're doing it anyway.
Why not consciously choose positive programming instead? Replace the harmful messages with helpful ones.
That's a really interesting way to frame it. So we're basically choosing a better internal script. Does the source give examples of good affirmations?
It does. Things like, I am capable. I am worthy of success. I trust myself to learn and grow.
Simple, but powerful.
Yeah, and the dialogue is clear. This isn't magic. It's mindset training. It takes consistency.
Right. It's like exercise for the brain.
Mm-hmm. And it even touches on research suggesting self-affirmation can, lower stress, improve problem solving. It helps build resilience.
So it's not just fluff. There's some science there.
Seems so. The source uses the analogy we're like gardeners of our minds. We need to choose what we plant and nurture.
I like that. Okay, so we have reframing, we have affirmations. These are great tools. But sometimes just knowing others struggle too can help. The source shares some inspirational stories, right?
It does, and these are really important. They show that even incredibly successful people deal with this inner critic. Like J.K. Rowling.
Harry Potter, yeah.
The dialogue mentions her getting rejected 12 times before Harry Potter was published. 12 times. Imagine the inner critic during that period.
Oh, man. Just give up. It's no good. Nobody wants this.
Exactly, and she had other struggles too. But somehow her belief held firm.
Amazing persistence.
Who else?
Michael Jordan. Considered maybe the greatest basketball player ever.
Yep.
Well, the dialogue reminds us he was cut from his high school team. Cut.
Wow, I actually didn't know that.
Imagine the inner critic then.
Hey.
You're not good enough.
But he used it as fuel, didn't he? There's that quote. Yeah, the source includes it. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Just incredible reframing.
Totally.
And then there's Brené Brown. Her work on vulnerability is huge now.
Mm-hmm.
But the dialogue mentions how her own inner critic almost stopped her from giving that TED Talk that launched everything.
Really? Even her?
Even her. It just shows success isn't about not having an inner critic. It's about not letting it make the final decision for you.
That's the key takeaway, isn't it? It's about who's driving the bus.
Exactly. It's that constant choice the source talks about. Choosing courage over comfort, growth over staying stuck.
This is all so helpful. And to make it even more practical for you listening, the source actually gives an example of creating affirmations together.
Yes, this part is great. It shows how you can craft statements that directly push back against that critic. The first one they came up with was, I am not my negative thoughts. I'm the person who chooses what to believe.
Ooh, I like that. Creating that separation.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the second one?
The second one, I grow stronger with every challenge I face.
Nice. Turning challenges into growth opportunities.
Exactly. Reframing difficulty as strength building.
And the third one?
The third was, I speak to myself with kindness, courage, and belief. Basically applying that best friend test we talked about.
Treat yourself like someone you care about. Yeah. These are great starting points. And as the source suggests, you listening can take these or tweak them or create totally new ones that really hit home for you, right?
Absolutely. The key is making them personal, positive, and meaningful to you.
And it's not just about saying the words, is it?
Oh no, that's crucial. The dialogue stresses trying to feel them, to connect with the belief behind them even, or especially when the critic is arguing back. That's where the change happens.
Right. It's about actively shifting that internal energy. Stop feeding the critic. Start nurturing your confidence.
Yes, exactly that.
Okay. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main thing you want people to take away?
I think fundamentally it's this. Please remember that critical voice inside, it isn't always telling you the truth. It's often just fear talking, or old habits, or past stuff that doesn't reflect who you are now or what you can do.
And you have the power to challenge it.
You absolutely do. You can question it, you can reframe it, you can choose to focus on positive affirmations, on hope, on your strengths. That power is yours.
And remember, you're not alone in this. Everyone deals with this internal chatter.
Everyone. It's part of being human. But so is the ability to manage it, to rise above it.
So the encouragement is to be kind to yourself. Be courageous.
Yeah.
Believe in your own potential.
Yeah. Every time you choose kindness or courage or self-belief over that critical voice, you weaken its grip. You strengthen yourself.
You build the life you want, step by step.
That's it. So practice the reframing. Use those affirmations. Show up for yourself with compassion. You are worthy. You are growing. You have what it takes.
Let's make that conscious choice. Quiet the inner critic and let our true voices shine.